You don't care about the music. You don't care about your craft. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired.
Unfortunately, I guess.
Hey guys, it's your girl Cameron, and I'm back at it again with another video. And today we're going to be discussing the concept of humbling artists and if we should humble artists more often today. Many people now have untalented faves. It's like people know someone isn't uberly talented, but they're still okay with it and offering their support. And a lot of these artists garnering somewhat of a cultish fan base despite not having the talent to warrant it. More recently, artists like Ice Spice have elicited a lot of talking conversation surrounding her rise to fame, and not only that, her newest single, Thank You the Ish, Fart, expressing how the gig is up and it's getting old and she's getting complacent and cocky. The general public may be having an increasingly growing frustration with artists today, their lack of passion, their lack of hunger, and the artist's disinterest with getting better. Ironically enough, these artists are producing numbers. Someone's listening, people are talking about them, but there is a major lacking connection to their music. So with artists like Ice Spice, TikTokers turn into musicians. Should we humble artists more? And what people like to say, quote unquote, bully them into making good music again and upholding standards. So let's talk about it. Like, comment down below, guys, and hit that subscribe button down below if you'd like to see more pop culture commentary content just like this video. Thank you guys so much. We are so close to 10K. You guys have been interacting like crazy in the comments. We have great conversations, and I think we're building this really great niche community. So hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's just get straight into the video.
Warning, I may be a little more pessimistic than usual in this video. I am tired of the delusion. So, you have been warned.
Humbling artist, right? What does that mean? What does that look like? Well, today, the main impetus for this video is Ice Spice. And I want to talk about the rise and inevitable fall of her career and the increasing conversations around not only her music, but the idea that artists maybe need to be told or pressured into doing better before it's too late. Ice Spice. Ice is a catalyst for this video today. She recently released a new song called Thank You the Ish, Fart.
Unfortunately, I guess.
Her and Lotto have been rumored to be at odds. And this kind of started when Lotto posted a snippet to a unreleased track on TikTok, allegedly called Sunday Service. And in the back of the video, when Lotto says, quote, I just want a one-on-one, don't know why she's so nervous, Ice Spice's video is playing in the back. Now, when I heard the Lotto snippet, I was like, oh, this is fire. I didn't even put two and two together. But we can all assume that that wasn't coincidentally. A couple days later, Ice Spice posted a snippet to Thank You the Ish, Fart.
Can you please? Think you the shit, bitch? You not even the fuck.
Dropped it, left it like a bomb, and went mute. Until about a month later, we got news that this was going to be a legitimate single with a music video, the rollout. And recently on Spaces, Ice Spice was talking to a few of her fans, her munchkins, and while she was talking, she did discuss the Thank You the Ish Fart record, saying,
because the thing is, for me, why am I seeing that I'm in the back of your weak ass snippet? Like, that's why I was confused.
Oh,
Literally.
So I'm like, okay, since we're talking about me, let's talk about me. And I dropped that.
My question is, how does it feel that you surpassed Lotto in monthly listeners?
Whoop that bitch, mommy. Whoop her. I love you.
Get off the floor.
Ice Spice said this herself, and her fans were seemingly gassing her up. And it had people thinking, well, if Lotto's snippet is a weak ass snippet, then what does that make hers? And it made people think, oh, wait, she really thinks she's sweet for real. And that's not to say that she shouldn't gas herself up or think that she's not the ish. But a lot of users were pointing out that Latto's a very talented MC. And a Twitter user said, quote, "Y'all be gassing these girls' heads up entirely too much. There's being confident and then there's being delusional because there ain't no way Frozen Peppers thinks she can beat Latto when it comes to rapping." Not my words, someone else's. People were starting to feel like we've given Ice Spice too big of a head considering that she's openly making these comments and standing very confidently on them. And for art purposes, if you make silly, cute music, that's fine. But it becomes dangerously delusional when you begin taking yourself too seriously, knowing you lyrically are not up there. Knowing that there's other people who have worked harder at their craft and have more skin in the game. With TikTok, people debut, they gain a following for likability and relatability, and the music comes second. And with this fan base, right, with this loyal base that you're creating, it becomes a bit of an echo chamber because not only do you think you're really doing it, but your fans are gassing you up too. When we talk about this, because this is the perfect example of how realities can get skewed. This is in no way to purposely compare them. I'm simply reflecting a lot of the conversations being had on social media. A lot of Latto and Ice comparisons, and music listeners are pointing out the clear differentiation between the two and how really they shouldn't be compared. A lot of people have been praising Latto's performance quality and how she's worked and developed it over the years. She places a lot of high value in that. Ice Spice, a lot of fans are expressing their increasing boredom with giving nothing. Another thing people were saying is that Latto has worked at rapping her entire life since she was 13, so that passion is there, right? Two totally different stories. Recently, Ice Spice performed at a new artist Spotify event, pre-Grammy party. Drama ensued. A lot of people were saying, okay, we're tired of the same 1-2, the get up, the bend over, the shake it, the whatever. And this is becoming an increasing critique for Ice Spice whenever you see any performance videos of her. And Ice Spice further spiraled into delusion when she called out a fan who criticized her lackluster performance. This user said, "Either let her work with someone who can help with her performing and stage presence or send her back to the Bronx, please." And in response to that tweet, Ice Spice posted, "While we're being constructed." This girl gave her some criticism, which some people would argue that, hey, that was a little shady. But it elicited a response from Ice. She was irritated enough to say, well, while we're talking about it, maybe you should look at yourself. And a lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people said, let's reel it in. Let's reel it in. And that's a valid criticism. And this brought up for me, well, dang. Can we not even criticize artists on their art anymore? I know the lines between personal and art have been very blurred with the popularity and rise of social media. It seems like a lot of artists aren't only touchy about, hey, their personal lives being on display, but touchy about people giving them critique or criticism about what they need to do because we're tired. We're going to transition into somebody who has grown so much, and we're going to talk about the miraculous case of Dua Lipa. Back in 2018, a performance video of Dua Lipa went viral singing One Kiss, and she was giving us nothing. Okay? Everybody's seen this video. If you haven't seen this video, you've been living under a rock. But for a lot of us, that was our main impression of Dua Lipa for the time. And rightfully so. People had something to say about it. Because you're being put in these rooms, you're being put on these stages, and something's not clicking. Dua went into the lab. She did the work. She listened to the criticism, and she came back swinging. And now Dua Lipa is one of the most popular and respected pop stars of our time, making hits, and her performances have gotten notably better. She absolutely killed her Grammys performance. I really, really enjoyed it, and it showed me how much she's truly grown. It's insane. In a Jimmy Fallon interview, Dua Lipa addressed this controversy and this viral moment and said, quote,
there was a moment where actually it caused me a lot of grief. Like I was being bullied online. It wasn't very nice. But now I'm like, you know, I can look at it from a different perspective. I look back on it with such fondness because it helped me grow into the artist that I wanted to become. It made me like work harder. I went in, I did more rehearsal. I just wanted to become a real performer. And I think that was kind of the thing that I needed to.
And so she was able to say, as much as people were racking on me, at the end of the day, there's a job to do. And people weren't satisfied with what they saw. And so she, as an artist, as a hungry artist, said, hey, I need to go to the drawing board. I need to put in that work. And it paid off. It paid off. And this made me think consumer critique is not always a bad thing. And we're missing it. I think we're missing a lot of the plot. We're missing the point. And in her case, I'm not saying that bullying works because bullying is never the answer, guys. But consumer critique is important in pushing artists to do better and be better. And while we're talking about consumer critique, I do want to mention something that Ice Spice said involving critics and critique. She said, quote, I do listen to the opinions of critics. They actually study music and care about it, she explained. So I feel like I'd rather hear their opinion. I'm more interested in that because at least it'll be paragraphs explaining why they feel the way, and I'll be able to understand the person better versus just one little hateful ass comment from a private page. At least there's an author's face attached. When I hear a quote like this, I do think it's important to value opinions of critics, but I want to drive home that consumers matter. And there are a lot of consumers who know what they're talking about. There's regular consumers who aren't critics, but they know music. So if you're getting an overwhelming amount of comments, yes, I understand the hate can sometimes outweigh the actual constructive voices. But as an artist, I'm going to say this multiple times in this video, at the end of the day, it's your job. And as long as people are commenting on the art, equating things to a hateful ass comment on a private page, everyone who's not giving you critique is not on a private page, hiding behind an alias, or out to get you. There are people who actually care and want to see you get better. So critics are awesome. They're great, and I think they're there for a reason. But consumers also, they're the ones who buy your music, and I think it's good that you listen to them. So when they're telling you that you're great and awesome, like in Ice Spice's case, of course you want to hear that. And you're hearing that overwhelmingly because, again, it turns into an echo chamber. But when there's also an overwhelming amount of people who are saying that you need to improve in this area, I think that it's okay to accept that and humble yourself and say, maybe I should do something because I'm this big. I feel like I could be bigger, and I'm lucky to be where I am. And there's obviously a thin line. You don't want to cross over into disrespect, and I think maybe Ice Spice felt like that comment was a bit shady. But we also know that certain criticisms will always come off as shady because we all don't like to be told about what we're doing or not doing. Now, another part of this equation that makes it very hard for us as consumers to really be on one accord is everyone's an artist today. Everybody makes music. And we complain about the quality of music today when we're also aren't setting expectations for our artists either. The amount of times I've seen people try to criticize Ice Spice's lack of passion and lack of effort, it's always met with, oh, well, she just makes fun music. Well, she's not trying to take herself seriously. Like, you guys are doing too much. And I have to say, I think there's a video where I said, well, she makes cute fun bops. But there's also people who are there to make music for pretty girls, for the girls who want to just have fun and bop in the club. That is all extremely valid. I have to admit, she has fun music. If you're not in her market, you don't get it. Boom. But the longer somebody stays somewhere, it's kind of like, okay, what's next? And I think that we've all contributed. I mean, can you be mad at the person that y'all put on a pedestal for absolutely no reason? No. Those of us who are now complaining, hey, Ice ain't really talk about nothing for real. A lot of us are the same people who gassed it up, sharing the music, listening to the music, and enjoying it. And that's where the power of the consumer does lie. All of that may be true. Maybe this person makes fun music. Maybe they're not taking themselves too seriously. But it ultimately has these artists thinking that they're a lot better than they actually are, though. Which means that the envelope doesn't end up getting pushed. They stay stagnant, and now we have to settle for a mediocre hit maker because we don't want to hold artists accountable to their craft. Look at this. Nicki stans are having so much hate for Latto that they're actually convincing themselves that somehow that Ice Spice objectively out-raps, is more talented, and is better. So now the merit we discuss in music, it can't even be taken seriously, because sometimes there are objective truths when we talk about craft and skill, especially when we talk about rap, which is easier to measure because we talk about double entendres, we talk about metaphors, we talk about wordplay. Those are things objectively that you can look at one rapper to another and say, in this category, this person is better. Now, artistically, maybe this person checks off other boxes that another person doesn't. But we can't start being that delusional when we're talking about things that can be objectively judged in specific categories. On the flip, to bring somebody else up who has really exacerbated this culture is Cardi B. A lot of people have an issue, a lot of rap fans have an issue with Cardi B and her rise to fame and what that meant for music. The girl liked music, she was a reality star, she danced. And so now you had this everyday girl,
I'm just a regular, schmegular girl from the Bronx,
who didn't dedicate her entire life to rapping, who didn't dedicate her entire being to her craft, becoming one of the most famous people in the world. And so a lot of people felt like, hey, if Cardi can do it, I can do it. The trend starts shifting where it's like everybody was doing it. And I am not saying that Cardi's the only artist that this case has perpetuated, but I'm just saying specifically in rap. And I personally like Cardi, so don't come for me. And then if you look at a Cardi B, though, on the flip side, in my opinion, prove to us, hey, I might not be the greatest rapper, I might not write my lyrics, etc., but I have stellar performance quality. I have stellar style. I have stellar visuals. And she showed duality. She showed versatility, which is important in artists. This is the key. Not one artist is going to have everything we need. There's only a couple in a lifetime that come that legitimately has every little thing. But I don't think we're expecting all of these artists to check off every box. So what are some of these boxes that I think as consumers we tend to look at, or what we should be? Hey, who are we pushing? Good vocals and or rhymes. If you're a singer, I hope that you're good at it. I hope you're decent. And if you rap, it would be nice if you wrote your raps. But if you rap, like, what's the cadence? What's your tone? Stage presence is another box we like to tick. Good visuals. I had a video that I just talked about, the death of the video star. Go check it out. Charisma. Good dance moves. Maybe you're doing a 1-2 step. Catchy and meaningful songs. And dedication to the craft. So, I'm not saying that every artist is going to check off every box. We have a couple, once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime, who can do all of these. But some of these newer artists, y'all, aren't even taking off 2. And I would argue in this list, I would like to see you have a good 4 for me to even take you seriously. And when Stan Twitter convinces some artists that they're really good, what is there to work for anymore? We feed into the memeable songs, we feed into the drama, and we don't make it about the music anymore. Even though artists beg, they say, let's make it about the music. But that's why y'all are on the Shade Room every day trying to start some shit, because you guys don't even make it about the music. You don't care about the music. You don't care about your craft. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired. Because then you have artists who are genuinely talented people. They exist. Who are sitting in their bedroom right now wondering, why not me? I've been working at this my whole life. I've taken music theory. I've taken music class. And I know life isn't fair, y'all. I know. But once the music industry shifted from actually scouting talent and them pushing who's the cutest new thing, what guy has the biggest chains, who's the most drugged up, we lost the plot. Guys, that is the day's moral of the story. We lost the plot. And then you have people who are genuinely talented who have to sit on the sidelines and who will never get the recognition because Stan Twitter is too busy pushing an artist because of some beef. Or fans are so delusional because they're liking one person because they don't like somebody else. And they're being delusional about the actual music. And then what happens? These people still continue to get attention. And the people who actually have talent have to sit wayside. Sucks. It absolutely sucks. Think about all these TikTok stars, Charli D'Amelio, Dixie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, okay? I'm just going to put this out here. They're not amazing musicians. They have some redeemable songs, but essentially they got famous from already having a platform, Music was monetizable. Maybe they had a bit of a passion, but it put them in an easier predicament to get to that place. The record labels realized, hey, this is going to work for a minute. Is it going to be longevity? Absolutely not. A lot of musicians are getting into their positions because they have a cult-like following. They have a large follower count. They get a little bit of radio play, maybe a couple dudes thirsting after them, girls wanting to be them. Why the hell would you work harder or switch up what you've been doing when you're reaping the rewards for being mediocre? So complacency becomes inevitable. And can you blame them? When you make people feel like they're a little bit untouchable, that bleeds into how they feel about their craft and they don't need to work for it anymore. Why would they? Y'all tell them every day that they're great, beautiful, lovely, sunshines and roses. But when they drop a bad song, it's like some of y'all just won't be honest. So, to conclude this video, should we humble artists? What I will say is when we talk about humbling artists, there needs to be equal attention, not just to women getting all the flack, but for men equally. And I will argue that it does disproportionately fall on women when we discuss music quality and performance. It's like we expect more out of the girls than we do the guys. Trust me, I've roasted every guy you can think of. Go check out my Nobody Cares About Performances video. This is not one-sided. I just use Ice Spice as the impetus for this video. But yes, I do think that it's okay to humble artists. I don't mean to tear them down and tell them, girl, you ain't worth nothing. That's not necessarily what I mean. But let's be honest, it's okay to have an opinion. It doesn't have to be a whole dissertation on like, Ice Spice, if you do X, Y, and Z and you do this, because you're not hiring me to be your artist developer. So am I going to sit down on Twitter and write you a whole paragraph that you're never going to read? Absolutely not. But I think an artist should pay attention to the overwhelming flow of comments saying, hey, I wish you would give us more. Hey, I'm getting tired of this. Hey, I really would appreciate if you did X, Y, and Z. Because there are fans who care about you and like actually want to see you do better. And I know social media, it exacerbates the bad and everyone feels like they have something to say more so than ever. But when you do get an overwhelming amount of the same comments, I mean, you have to admit, maybe there's something I can personally do as an artist. Maybe I do need to go into the drawing board. Maybe it's not personal because this is a business. Music is a product. And at the end of the day, it's a job. For normal, everyday people, if you suck at your job, you get performance evaluations, you receive constructive criticism, and if you're not picking up the pace, you're fired. That's what the rest of us have to deal with. Where things get messy is now artists, it's a free-for-all, right? A lot of artists are loved for their persona or who they are or their relatability and not really their music. So where there used to be a standard expectation for talent with artists, particularly with A&R, artists having to partake in PR, artist development being vital before an artist debut, into the star-making machine of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. That doesn't necessarily exist in the same way because labels don't personally feel like they need talent to maybe make so much money. And with a social media presence, I mean, haven't you guys heard that some labels won't even look at certain artists if they don't have a certain amount of followers? So that already knocks off a large part of the audience because I don't think a lot of these labels want to do as much work to build a base like they used to. Your fans regarding your art, not your life, are allowed to have an opinion on what you put out, and they are, in my opinion, allowed to chime in on ways you can do better. Hence with Ice Spice, why take things personally when people say they want to see more out of you? If you as an artist want longevity, that comes with honing your craft, that comes with taking critique, and it comes with wanting to get better. Now, if she's out here and she's like totally fine with like 5 minutes of fame, being around for a couple years and dipping, that's, you know what, that's her business. And maybe that's what she's here for. But if you really think you are like that girl and you really want to stay here, it is very important that you listen to what people are saying. You're an artist. That's your job. And I think if you want longevity, you should at least have the respect and the decency to not get a cocky head when you have not been here long enough. And people actually have valid critique that could actually elevate you. But a lot of people just want artists to care again. They want artists to be passionate about what they're doing. And we only have a few of those left. Check out my Papa's Dead video. I listed a couple people that I'm personally excited about. But for the rest of y'all, not convinced. Work ethic, we need that back. And because we're not upholding these basic standards anymore, We're seeing that there are less and less talented artists in the mainstream. Artists who have worked at it their whole lives, artists with deep passion. That is almost becoming obsolete in the mainstream. So you now just have artists who think that they're better than they are and can hardly be told anything. And this is dangerous. I think this is dangerous for anyone who cares about the quality of music today and in our future. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. That was what I had to say regarding humbling artists and as consumers where we fit into this conversation. Like, comment down below. What do you guys think of some of these examples I used today? So let's chat. Hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys in my next video.